Hey, everybody. Welcome to the World of Concacaf podcast. I'm Eric Schmitz.
I'm Jonathan Slade.
And I'm Donald Wine.
And we've got a very special edition for you today. Obviously, one of the things we love talking about on this podcast is kits. So we've got a CONCACAF kit, special edition, CONCAKIT watch, whatever you want to call it. We're talking simply aesthetics today. We're all currently wearing our favorite jerseys. Jonathan, what do you want to tell us what you got on?
I'm wearing the Anguilla white jersey, along with some nice Anguilla training wear as well. The blue jacket.
Great stimulus gear. Donald, what are you rocking today?
I am rocking the 2012 home jersey for Antigua and Barbuda. It is made by Peak. They are no longer made by Peak, but what's interesting about this jersey is that I think this set the record for most number of jerseys worn by a national team. They had 5 in 2012. I'm wearing the yellow one, which was their home. They also had a white, they had a black, they had a light blue, and they had a red. All of the colors of their flag. They made a jersey in the same style out of them. And yeah, it was one of the ones that my parents, my mom actually got this for me. My dad found this on a cruise that they took to Antigua Barbuda. I wasn't able to acquire this, but they were able to. So I appreciate them for that.
That's amazing. That's a very signature kit with that stripe, that racing stripe running down. I'm currently rocking the Nike USA jersey, worn by the only CONCACAF Nations League champions in the history of the world.
You should let them know that you are wearing the 2020 jersey, which we're recording on Wednesday, September 14th. In about 9 hours, that jersey will no longer be worn by the United States because they will be coming out with new ones.
Okay, we're going to get to that later, but there's a lot to talk about with kits. We love talking about kits. So we're going to give you a quick rundown on how broad it is in CONCACAF with the different manufacturers. It's interesting, being in the US with MLS, one company makes all the kits. So there's very similar looks. When you see the World Cup this fall, you're going to see only a few manufacturers, a lot of templates. So in CONCACAF alone, you've got 20 different manufacturers across the 41 CONCACAF nations, and it's a wide variety. The two biggest are Joma and Nike. Both have 6 nations that they outfit. Joma, it's a wide variety from Antigua and Barbuda, British Virgin Islands, Cuba, Honduras, Puerto Rico, Turks and Caicos, all over the region. Nike, it's more of the top end stuff. You've got your USA, Canada, Curacao, and then the 3 French teams that probably are just hitching on that deal with the FFF, but French Guiana, Guadeloupe, and Martinique, all with Nike kits. After that, it gets very spread out. Capelli Sports, you got your Barbados, Guyana, St. Kitts, and Nevis. Umbro also has 3. That's Aruba, El Salvador, and Guatemala. After that, a bunch of teams with 2. First off with Adidas. Adidas was 1 with Mexico. They've been Adidas for a while. Jamaica actually just switched to Adidas. Looking forward to seeing what those kits look like.
It's interesting. I think it's interesting if we break, we talk about some of the other confederations and you see Adidas as, arguably next to Nike 1 and 1A as far as number of teams that they outfit within soccer. And the fact that they only have 2 national teams in CONCACAF, it speaks a lot to also not just the fact that they just don't have the reach here yet. They just kind of focused on their teams that they deem to be quote unquote important. But it also means that some of these federations are taking chances on some of these smaller apparel companies in an effort to be seen, in an effort to be noticed, and also probably have more creative freedom.
For sure. Other manufacturers with 2 teams apiece. Admiral is outfitting St. Martin, the Dutch side, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Bowl Football, which is a new company out of Miami. They have Trinidad and Tobago and Montserrat. Those are very hot jerseys. New Balance. They have 2, Costa Rica and Panama, which both should be getting new kits relatively soon. Score Sports, the vibes are up. Score Sports actually outfits Bermuda in their pink and also St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Vincy Heat, Rise Up, and also Stimulus. Stimulus, most notably, the ones that did the beautiful jersey that Jonathan is wearing, and also recently joining St. Lucia. They are outfitted by Stimulus now as well. Now there's a bunch of other companies that are around CONCACAF that some of these sound made up because they might be. Hummel's not made up. We know that. They outfit the Bahamas. Kiyuka is a new outfitter that's based out of Mexico. They are Nicaragua's fire new kits. We are definitely talking about those. Klup is a Dutch company that's doing Suriname. Lika has Dominica's kits. Macron, which is a more popular brand, especially in Europe. They actually do the entire Canadian Premier League. Macron does Dominican Republic's jerseys, which have massive front numbers for some reason. Roby Sports, that's another Dutch company. That is Bonairs, oddly enough. Bonairs outfitted by Roby. Sayeta is Hades manufacturer. Savi is Grenada. Sounds made up. Skyro Sports, a new outfitter out of Miami. They do the Cayman Islands jerseys. And then Viomar Sportswear does St. Martin, the French side.
I just got to interject here.
Yeah.
I cannot Skyros. I immediately think of Spyro the Dragon. And that's just what I go like. That is, for whatever reason, the thing that I immediately think of.
Well, I also want to note for Donald, because he is a Miami guy, Skyro Sports is actually out of Doral.
Yep.
They are located in the Miami International Mall. So
I know exactly where that is.
Yeah. So that's it.
I've been there many, many times.
And they are outfitting CONCACAF Nation. What prestige in coming out of the Miami International Mall.
Well, it makes sense because CONCACAF, the offices are in Miami. Obviously they're north of Doral, but the fact that they're in the area means that they probably were like, yo, give us a country to outfit. And they're like, take this one.
So before we get into our top fives and our favorites, I just want to ask you guys, do you think CONCACAF is getting enough respect from the major manufacturers where it's like, you don't see Puma anywhere. Adidas is only doing 2 teams. Even some of the bigger European ones like Hummel and Macron have very few. Nike really only has agreements with 4 federations. Is CONCACAF getting enough respect here?
No,
but I mean, the short of it is, there are large nations, which we'll get into, that actually some of that falls on the federation, but Nike's not doing well with some of their big teams. So I mean, they're not getting the respect they deserve, but then I think a lot of it too of why we've seen the pop-ups in these smaller providers is the changes in supply chain and the printing of jerseys and how technology has evolved and allows a lot of these smaller brands to pop up and do some interesting stuff, whereas in the years past it has not allowed for. It's easier to do some crazier stuff on a smaller scale too.
Yeah, and I think also you mentioned some of the ones out of Europe that are fairly large that a lot of people have heard of, that aren't outfitting teams like Puma, and then you have Macron and Hummel that only have 1 each. But there's also one big company here in North America that has not really gotten a lot. There's New Balance. They don't have that many. Warrior used to be around. They used to outfit Liverpool back in the day.
Warrior became New Balance.
They got absorbed by New Balance, but they still operate the lacrosse side of things and still have been doing a couple of small teams here on the side. I will also note that in Mexico, a lot of the Liga MX teams are sponsored by a Mexican outfitter called Charlie. And Charlie also just dipped into USL with San Diego Loyal. I expect that they will probably have some teams in the near future, but I think a lot of these teams want to be seen with their jerseys, and they want to go. They're going with smaller outfitters that may not have the reach to get them to other places like here in the United States where people would buy them, but we're starting to see more of them creep up here on these shores and also abroad, because again, that creative freedom that they have is what they've been using to kind of put their name out there.
Now, the other note I did want to make is in doing this research and looking into what teams are wearing, Belize, I could not figure out for the life of me who makes their kits. Like, I stared at photos for a long time, looking at different action shots. I have no idea who makes Belize's kits. So please tweet at us if you know who makes Belize's kits, because I would love to know. They're fine, but don't know.
I can answer that question for you. There is a reason why you don't know who it is.
Why?
Because it's nobody. They make theirs in-house. They are one of the few national teams on this planet that make their own jerseys. So they don't have a kit outfitter. They make their jerseys in-house.
Are they sewing those?
Huh?
Are they selling those?
I don't know how they're doing it, but and we've seen this with club teams recently where a team kind of gets discarded by a kit outfitter and they go, well, screw it, we'll make it ourselves, and they do, and they make a lot more money that way because again they're able to control the inventory, and they're also able to control the reach that it gets. So Belize is, I believe, the only country, at least on this side of the world, that is making their own jerseys.
Interesting. The more you know. You come to the World of Concacaf podcast for facts. I'm just imagining the backup keeper before games having to be working the heat press to press the numbers on for him. But all right. So we kind of ran down who makes what for CONCACAF. So let's talk about who's doing a good job. Donald, I think we're going to go to you first. Give me your top 5 CONCACAF kits.
So for me, I'm going to start with one that I think will be, at least in some form, on all of our lists, and that is Anguilla's jersey. But this one I'm going with is the 3rd jersey, their turquoise one. Why? Because it fucking has dolphins on it. Like, I don't have to explain it any more than that. It has fucking dolphins on it. It's perfect. In my mind, it is arguably, I would dare say it is the greatest jersey on the planet. And I say arguably because I haven't seen all the jerseys yet that have come out around the world. But within CONCACAF, there is no second best, or there is no one that is better than the 3rd jersey, the turquoise one that Anguilla has. I think across the board, Anguilla has the best jerseys, but that is the best of the best. Next, I'm going to go with...
Before I stop you, before you go on, I got to ask, are these ranked or are these just your top 5?
These are just my top 5.
Okay.
The only one that I have ranked is number 1. It doesn't, for me, like after Dolphins, it doesn't really matter. So the next ones are not in any particular order, but I'm going to go through them. The next one I have is Montserrat's home jersey, the green jersey, again, Bowl. Absolutely flawless. They did a great job with them. The only drawback that they have is that they don't make a 2X for me. So Bowl, look, you're in the city I used to call home, at CONCACAF. Come up with some 2Xs for me and send me some samples. The next one I'm going to do, the Bermuda home jersey. Why? Because it's pink. And if it's pink, that's going to be high up in my book. But also they look sharp doing it. It's a very unique color in the international game. And whenever Bermuda's playing and wearing those jerseys, everyone knows who that is. So I really, and they also have a great design with it. So I like that. The 4th one I have is the Nicaraguan 3rd jersey, the black jersey. They haven't really worn it, but I think maybe once or twice that we've seen, but it's tremendous. It's a tremendous looking jersey. I think, Eric, we have to figure out a way to put these online so that people can see kind of our top 5 visually, without, all the painstaking research that you had to put through to find all these things and for me to actually research them. And then finally, as an American fan, I'm going to hate saying this, but the Mexico away kit is tremendous. It's outstanding. I think that is probably completes the top 5. I'll talk about my honorable mentions, but that one just squeaked out as the one that I think right now currently is in my top 5. That away jersey, they did a great job with it, and especially with just their rebrand.
Now, before we get into your honorable mentions, I got a couple comments on who's in your top 5. The Montserrat bowl football. Love what you're doing. The collars look like shit to me. That's the one thing I don't like. That's the one thing I don't like about them. Bermuda's pink, undeniable. Nicaragua's blacks. Those are hot jerseys. but Anguilla is your number one, correct?
Anguilla is far and away my favorite.
We want to shout out Keith. He's at Filthy Specs on Twitter, the man who designed these damn jerseys. We've all got them in our list. Just fantastic work. We all have tons of gear.
And to Stimulus as well. To Stimulus, our friends over at Stimulus have done a great job with these, because again, it's one thing for someone to say, I have this idea. It's another thing for a kit maker to say, I can bring this to life. And the mares that they have with these jerseys made for a great finished product.
Now, Jonathan, do you want to go through your top 5? We'll do honorable mentions after.
Yeah. So very similar to Donald's. Mine are in no order. So Montserrat home, love the green, love the design on the side. The pink Bermuda home, it's pink, it looks dope. Going with another bold jersey on there, the Trinidad and Tobago away. So that's the white one with the Islander down the side of it with the headdress. Just it's unique, look clean, it's dope. The Anguilla away, which is the jersey that I am wearing right now. So the white one with the orange collar. And then the Nicaragua third, like Don said, black with blue. It's this really cool like design / sash up to the side. Looks fantastic. And that is my top 5.
We've got some unanimous choices here. I'm joining you on that Anguilla way. My top 5. First one, I've got Anguilla white jersey. The design on the front, just the color combo. That is such a unique look in world soccer, I should say, because I'm American. Like that is what you want as a national team. You want an iconic look. My next one, speaking of iconic looks, I'm just gonna skip ahead. The USA white kit, whatever white, if it's a white shirt, navy shorts, that is about as clean as it gets. Obviously, the US.
I'm gonna take it.
Go ahead.
I don't think you really gonna put top 5. If we're going current jerseys, and as of tomorrow, this is the one you are wearing is not the current jersey.
We're talking really current. We're talking current. As of tomorrow is tomorrow. Then until they release
it, you really gonna throw that? You really gonna throw that trash ass jersey in there? Because if that was the case, I would have had to throw in. I mean, if I'm going what we're calling quote unquote current, the red and blue from the US, the pattern is. I mean, that I
deliberately left that off because again, that is no longer current. If you think about it. That jersey is not current either because they're not wearing it in a game ever again. It has been retired.
Yeah.
Well, let's just stop here and have the conversation. So the U.S. is about to release. We've all seen them.
Already. Wait. Before we do it, can we? I want to hear the rest of your top 5. Finish your top 5, then we can.
Okay.
We can do
okay.
This is going to take a minute.
We'll finish top 5, then we're going right back to the U.S. Even before we get to honorable mentions, we got to have this discussion. So the rest of my top 5. Next, Bahamas. Their teal jerseys. It looks like the giant flag with the sash. Just the teal, gold, and black combo. Just iconic. Love it. Next up, speaking of iconic, Jamaica's gold jerseys. You give me Jamaica with the gold, the green highlights, black shorts. It's about as good as it gets.
Jamaica always comes out with fire, and the only reason I didn't have them in my top 5 is because we don't know what their new jerseys look like, and so I reserve hope that they are still going to be fire.
Yeah, I mean, my top 5 is more like the traditional look, but with some specific current jerseys.
Changed the assignment and didn't inform the rest of us.
Yeah. Hey, the Jamaica 1998 jersey is probably one of the top 5 jerseys that CONCACAF has ever seen.
Period. Oh yeah. I mean, Jamaica gold. It could be any of them. But also my 5th one, current. Honestly, it's basically Jamaica's look. U.S. Virgin Islands. Their gold shirt, black shorts, great design on the front. I wanted to shout out some other ones. We'll get to the honorable mentions later. But U.S. Virgin Islands, I just think it looks so sharp, but very Jamaican.
They have some good ones.
All right. So let's stop the whole top 5 nonsense. the U.S. new World Cup kits. I think unanimously, I can speak for the group and say we're disappointed. We're angry.
No,
We're
I don't
angry
think you can say
and
I
disappointed.
don't see we're not disappointed. We're livid, and what the fuck were you thinking?
So, okay, I'm going to bridge the gap here because I think you think they're shit. Eric, it
I
sounds
think
like
they're
you
shit. I think I'm gonna buy one, but I think they're shit.
forget that part. We're Jersey
You're
Nets. We're having a whole Jersey podcast. Like we're gonna buy. Like some of us are gonna buy a jersey. That has nothing to do with whether we like it or not. I think most people online, through their anger, they are not expressing anger necessarily at the design or lack thereof. In the case of the home jersey, they are expressing. A lot of them are expressing what we've been saying for years, in that the United States needs to establish a jersey identity, and that for the majority of American fans, at least on social media, we can divert, whatever that means, right? Take that for whatever you will. But the vast majority of American fans online want the Waldo as their permanent jersey because of the fact that it is an identifiable jersey design. And I know some people like the Chris White with the Navy, and you're not alone in that, Eric. But most people don't think that represents the United States. They think that when they first see that look, they think of England, or they think of Germany, they think of other teams before the United States. But when you see the horizontal hoops, there ain't no planet in this multiverse that won't think that is a United States jersey. And I think that's what most people are looking at, or even the denim, even the stars. But they want something that's readily identifiable as an American jersey.
But you can have that both ways, and I think the perfect example of this is the 2008 2009 U.S. white jerseys, where you have the red stripes, you have hoops. Like it's not quite the distinct Waldo that we saw in 2013, but you have that same identity. And it's white shirt, navy shorts, white socks. That is the U.S. That is the U.S. at its best. And the constant going to monochrome looks, whether it be reasons that FIFA wants, reasons that the Federation wants, white shirt, navy shorts, white socks. That is the United States of America. And it can
Yeah.
be if they stick with it, but they never stick with it. They had those beautiful Waldos in 2013. Then they rolled out a monochrome kit in 2014. Even going to the World Cup, the potential World Cup kits in 2018 when they're qualifying, like those were designed before they didn't qualify. They were monochrome kits. And when they unveil these, if they don't have navy shorts, they fucked up.
Well, the 2018 one was going to be the American Airlines looking one. So yes, it was monochrome in the sense that it was white, with white shorts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think most people want navy shorts. They want a Waldo jersey, and that way you can change your away kit can be navy with something where you can kind of take some risks. The third jersey can be something where you red, maybe, where you can kind of take some risks. But everyone is looking for that established identity. And even when you mentioned the pinstripes in 2008, that would still fit in line with that, because even though they were thin pinstripes, they still were, horizontal hoops in a way. And you could change them just like Croatia changes their checkerboard, just like Paraguay and Argentina change their stripes. If you stand next to someone wearing a 2008 Argentina jersey and you're wearing a 2022 one, you cannot tell the difference. But subtly, they're different, and that there's still an identity that, hey, this person has a 2008, you have a 2022, and you can tell those subtle differences. And people want it for a mile away at a World Cup, at a Gold Cup, at a Nations League final, when we're marching in, and this is a sea of whatever jersey that is. They want that to be like, yo, the Americans are here, and we are deathly afraid because there's tens of thousands. That's all people want.
And I think part of the problem too is, we've I feel like there's the identity thing. A lot of that gets thrown at Nike for this, but I know that there was a really good thread a couple weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago. It's a designer at Nike, and a lot of this falls back on the federation. Like one of the things that he talked about was the fact of like U.S. soccer either doesn't give good feedback, or they just don't give feedback at all. They aren't involved as much in the design process. They don't really seem to give a shit. And I think that falls into a lot of it is like, can Nike do better? Yes. But like, if the federation says this is what we want to be an identity, they're gonna make it they're gonna make that the identity. It's the fact of like they're just doing all different kinds of shit. Just kind of whatever the trend is at the moment, and the current trend now. I mean, the monochrome thing is another thing, but like, fucking tie-dye.
Yeah.
So here's the thing about the other part of this, right? And this is something that I disagree with because, again, I'm talking to two dudes who are just like me who buy dumb jerseys, great jerseys, awesome jerseys, classic jerseys. They are not going after us when they come with a jersey. They are going after the casual fan, especially for this, a World Cup. The casual fan who tunes into soccer every 4 years. That's who they're going for because there's way more of them than there are of us jersey diehard nuts. It's just a fact. There's just more of them. So they think that if they come with something, I'll just say it, if they come with something plain, they will capture more of that market because those people don't want the zany. They just want something they can wear to work or wear to church or wear to the grocery store.
I'm going to push back on that because if you look at let's say the person that they're going after, the every 4 years, it's the rah USA crowd.
The Olympic
people,
fans.
Those people fucking love patriotic shit. And they're not that is a market. Like you can go after that crowd and be like, there's no red in this. Like there's a little bit, there's barely any red, and it's one of the three. Then there's three. It is, and it's just like you could capture the every 4 years we're gonna buy a jersey because it's the World Cup, and it still be a bit more interesting.
They still, my point was is I think you're right. I think they could still capture that market by doing what we want them to do, but their mindset is that the majority of people like plain, simple, clean, all those descriptors that they use for solid color jerseys. And the reason why they think that is because the popular teams in the world all subscribe, or almost all of them subscribe to a color rather than a pattern.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing, going back to who they're targeting, think about like the past few World Cups. What have been like the hottest jerseys out there? Nigeria. Whatever they roll out, it's wild, it's crazy, and it sells out. Like there's a secondary market for those jerseys, and nothing about either of these says, "Oh, I gotta have that." Like the white is, they use the template, like whatever, it's fine.
They used a practice template.
Yeah, like it's
but they weren't the only team to do it. I'm not mad at that because that happens.
No, yeah, like the white is the less egregious of it, but the away, the blue tie-dye one, we're talking about like how patriotism sells, especially for the US. Like coming off the away kit from they're going away from the red and blue, basically the red and blue stripes, that was widely liked, I would say. Like, if anything, like you saw what was successful and you kind of went away from it. And like the changes for the sake of change that they added on, centering the crest, putting the swooshes on the sleeves, like they were almost trying too hard to be innovative when really all we want is something clean and simple, not necessarily simple, but attractive. We want to look like our country, whatever country it is. And you've got these iconic looks around the world. Like, Donald, when I say France, what's that look to you?
Blue top, white shorts, red socks.
Jonathan, we talked about Jamaica. Jonathan, what's Jamaica's look?
It's yellow and black and green. Also, other than CONCACAF, what's Mexico?
Mexico's the perfect example because I think for how badly the U.S. Federation fucked this up, because Mexico, they do weird shit. They were just black and pink for 2 years. But when the World Cup rolls around, they go back to what they are. The green top, white shorts, red socks. That's Mexico.
But here's
this is the biggest stage. What are we doing?
So here's the other thing about that. They have a method to their madness. If you think about it, they came out with black jerseys between these last 3 World Cups. The first one they came out with was black and green. They also had the red and black one as well as the away.
Yeah.
After 2014, they came out with black and white. Now, after 2018, they came out with the black and pink. Why? Because while black was the standard color, they still incorporated the flag colors and they created an entire collection with those jerseys: the green, the white, and the red. I know they're pastel, or I'm sorry, more neon versions of those colors, but they still kept within the theme of when they got to a World Cup. Like you said, they went back to their bread and butter. They went back to wearing green. They went back to wearing the Red Sox, unless FIFA, fucked around with that, which they do on occasion. But they had a method to their madness. With the United States, when you look at their home jerseys and their away jerseys, there is no pattern whatsoever.
Yeah, there's no pattern. And almost for the World Cup years, they get further away. Like, it's almost like the opposite. They're coming off a set that was almost like perfect for them. And now they're going to something that's different. And I guess Nike's thinking they're going to sell a shit ton of them because they're different. They look like shit. The center crest, the swooshes on the sleeves. Like, I mean, they're going to sell a shit ton of them when the U.S. wins the World Cup, but, they could have done better. And it's clear
if they come out,
U.S. soccer doesn't necessarily have like a plan for this.
Now, what they could have done, and even Nike could have done this, right? If you think back to 2004, the Circle 90 jerseys, this template is based off of that, but they haven't mentioned that at all. If you think about it, most people kind of try to compare it to 2002, which I don't know why they do that. 2004 is literally what this template is about. If they came out tomorrow and those jerseys have the Circle 90 numbers on it, instantaneously you'll gain more people going, okay, cool.
I get it.
We get it now. We're back. We're back in the game. Or you had an idea, you had a plan, and you execute. You're surprised with this. But if they come out with plain numbers, then people are going to be like, you tried to emulate this, but you didn't.
No, for sure. Jonathan, did you have anything else to add on this?
No, I mean, I could rant and rave about this for quite some time, but I feel
Let's
like
get
I'm
back
just
to jerseys we
screaming
like.
into the void.
Yeah.
Let's get by the jerseys that we liked.
Yeah. And I mean, like, just wrapping up this whole U.S. thing, it's going to look great when the U.S. beats England wearing tie-dye, but it would be so much better if they were wearing Waldo's. I'm just saying. Anyways, amen to that. So we talked about the kits that we like, the looks that we like. What are our honorable mentions? Jonathan, do you want to start off with your honorable mention?
I think so. My honorable mentions, looking at both of the Mexico jerseys, the home green one with the pattern on the front, and then the away one. I really, really like. I love both of the Bahamas ones, or not Bahamas, the Bermuda ones, and the Bahamas. But those are the big ones for me.
Nice. And Donald, what are your honorable mentions?
So obviously the other two Anguilla jerseys are top notch. Vinci Heat, they have 3 jerseys, and all 3 of them are really, really great. Again, they just missed my cut as much as I love them. Like the red, I'm sorry, the yellow, the blue, and the green. By Score Sports, I think the same ones that make Bermuda's jerseys, which also the away jerseys in my honorable mention as well.
The important thing to mention for Score Sports is these beautiful Vinci Heat jerseys and these Bermuda jerseys. They are available for purchase right now. If you go to scoresports.com, they retail for $70. You can go pick them up right now. I do think for the Vinci Heat, the gold is like, that's what I think. I want
same
gold shirt, the blue shorts, maybe green socks. Like, it's such a phenomenal look, and just the vibes. They're high end vibes for me.
So the other honorable mentions that I have quickly, the Cayman Islands, especially their home one, I thought is really cool. It's a little different than the ones we saw at Truman Bodden Sports Complex back in 2019, but they're really, really nice. The Bahamas, I think both are good, but I agree with you. The away, the teal one is phenomenal. The U.S. Virgin Islands, their away, that's kind of white that trends into gold, I think is really well done. And also the Suriname, they have a jersey that's basically a knockoff of the 2018 U.S. home jerseys, but they do a great job with it. And they have the away one that's kind of red with green and yellow and orange and white. The white one has green and red on it, and it kind of has a sash pattern that kind of is formed by the hoops in a way. So I really like that one because, again, it's creative. It gives you something that's eye-opening. And when you see them, you know instantaneously that they're Suriname.
Yeah, and I think that's the goal here is you want kind of an iconic look. I do want to shout out Sint Maarten, the Dutch side. Their red jerseys, they got these nice bright blue stripes. Big fan of that look. It's done by Admiral Sports. Those are very, very attractive. As far as like iconic looks, St. Kitts and Nevis, their Capelli Sport jerseys. They've got a red one, they've got a green one, but the sash is this like the sash from the flag. And I think that's a great way to tie in that iconography, like again, you want to look like the country you're representing. And they've done a really good job of that. And I really hate to do it, but Mexico, the new kits for the World Cup, they absolutely nailed it with Adidas. Obviously the traditional green, white, red home strip. It's what you expect to see out of Mexico. But the away kits, the change kits, it's like I don't know, can't even tell if it's white or if it's kind of like an off-white.
It's a cream color.
It's a cream color.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, but the red highlights, there's like a full front design on it. They're just fantastic change kits. And you hate to see it, but Mexico, you did something good. So yeah, those are our honorable mentions. Now we've done our honor, we've done our top 5. Who needs to change? Who is messing up here and who really needs a refresh? Donald, when you look around CONCACAF, who isn't doing what they need to be doing?
Canada. I mean, we've talked about the United States, so we don't have to. I don't think either of us, all of us, have mentioned that. But Canada, I mean, if you think about it, they're entering their first World Cup since 1986, and they don't have any jerseys to go with it. There's no new jerseys, and it's clear that they didn't prepare for making the World Cup because they didn't prep any jerseys, and they're growing with the same jerseys that they've had for the last 3 years. I think that's if the US did too much and trying to be too simple, then Canada did absolutely fucking nothing.
Well, the other thing too, I'm going to say with the jerseys that they do have, like throw a fucking maple leaf on there, guys. Like there is, like get that in like a sublimated pattern. Like that would look phenomenal within a red one, or even if you did the white one with the big red maple leaf on it, that would be incredible.
I mean,
just as a whole.
But Canada, like they're using Nike teamwear. Like they're just using the ones you can go on and order for your rec league team. Like that's what
Nike.com, and they're slapping a Canadian flag on or Canadian crest on it.
Slapping the Federation crest on it. And I don't know how that conversation went. Obviously, Canada Soccer doesn't seem to be a very well run organization, but whenever the process starts to start designing your kits for the coming years, the next cycle, obviously the World Cup is where it kicks off. They had to have a conversation with Nike. It's like, yo, should we do something unique? And it's like, nah, we don't need to. We don't sell enough kits. And all of a sudden, Canada got really good and they got really popular. And now, I guess on Nike's end, like they have a shit ton of these jerseys they can do, but it's not any customized. It's a monochrome kit. They slap the Canada logo and numbers on it, and that's it.
I wonder, and again, speaks to kind of how disorganized they are. We couple the national team jerseys and them just being jerseys you can get at the Nike outlet to the Canadian Premier League, which Macron sponsors the league, and they come out with some very, very nice jerseys. And I wonder if that marriage is happening sometime soon, where Macron is trying to inch their way in to kind of say, hey, we can do this on the national team front, and again provide some of the creative freedom that you're looking for, and make something a little bit more identifiable with Canada now that they are expected. Because you have to remember, for them, for the United States, for Mexico, they cannot slip these next 4 years when it comes to their jerseys. They are hosting a World Cup. They cannot come out here looking plain. They cannot come out here wearing some stuff that you see in beer leagues on Tuesday nights. They have to come correct. And I think maybe Macron is trying to inch their way up to say, for 2026, let us take that responsibility.
Yeah. And I think for Canada, though, Macron obviously could do something a little more creative. But if you're Canada, you're trying to up your prestige. And you can't be running out with Macron jerseys and expecting to be taken seriously if you think you're a World Cup level team. Like, you want to say, oh, check out our nice Nike kits. It's like, yeah, you can say you fucking bought those at Nike.com, but it's still a swoosh. And when you look at the teams who are outfitted, it is top teams in CONCACAF. It's the US, it's Canada, it's Curacao, and the French teams. Adidas has Mexico and Jamaica. Those are the top echelon. Even the New Balance, where it's Costa Rica and Panama. Like, if you're the top level team in CONCACAF, you have a top level outfitter. And if Canada tries rolling out in Admiral kits, they're gonna be like, "Yo, guys, like, sure you can't do better here."
I mean, that's true, because if you think about it, the World Cup hosts going, at least in the modern era, I'm pretty sure, except for 1998, because I'm pretty sure France at that point was the Coq Sportif, every other team was either Nike or Adidas, at least the host nations. And even if they weren't, like, South Africa became an Adidas country right beforehand, because I think they were Puma or something like that right before, along with a lot of the other African countries. Side note, Puma, they fucked up this round. We don't have to discuss them because they don't have anything in CONCACAF, but I just want to make that note. But also,
it's so
again,
bad.
Qatar,
It's so bad.
But also Qatar is Nike, and they have, again, their jerseys are coming out along with the rest of the Nike ones. And even they, but here's the funny thing, even theirs looks like they missed the mark somewhat. It's a nice jersey, but it's not a jersey that people are going to remember. I think when you think back, Brazil, obviously with the yellow, is always going to be instantly recognizable. But South Africa, with their jerseys in 2010, made an absolute statement with their jerseys. And when you look at their jerseys, yes, it was part of an Adidas template, but everyone was like, yo, that's exactly what South Africa needs to be wearing full time. And they've stuck with that throughout that. They formed their identity when they hosted the World, and they've been able to capitalize on that.
For sure. For me, we talk enough shit about Canada. I could go on for hours talking shit about Canada. But as far as the rest of CONCACAF, the one that I think needs to change is just a lost opportunity. St. Lucia. St. Lucia actually just switched to stimulus, and they're plain royal blue jerseys. Like, their royal blue's not even their flag, and they've got these plain royal blue jerseys from stimulus. Like, when you see what Anguilla did, just like these absolute baller ass, like, just incredible, beautiful jerseys, and St. Lucia is wearing basically team wear. Like, guys, stimulus can do cool shit. Like, let's be creative here.
Yeah,
John,
they really missed the mark on that one.
I think also it's because, remember, St. Lucia didn't really participate in World Cup qualifying. They just barely got into Nations League, and that was probably something where they said, yo, we need jerseys super quick. And of course, Stimulus was able to provide team wear, but it wasn't like they had a whole conversation about what that is. And of course, we're great friends with the guys over at Stimulus. And I think as we move forward, we may see them move up a little bit, just because of the fact that Stimulus will do anything they want, right? They have the capacity to create something that is theirs. It's all up on their federation. It's all upon their federation to maximize that potential that they have, because Stimulus will do it. It's just a matter, and we've learned this from federations, it's just a matter of whether the federation, if that's in their plans.
Jonathan, is there anyone else you think needs to step their game up here?
Honduras for me. I mean, I think the big thing with Honduras is the fact of, like, it's the crest as well. It's just the H. that really just like a white jersey with a blue H just doesn't do anything for me. So that's really the big one for me.
Now, for me, like the interesting thing about Honduras is if you guys haven't heard about it, there was like a national crisis about the color of their flag because they've always been like a blue, very like a lighter royal blue, very similar to El Salvador. Like for a while, like I couldn't tell them apart, but then as I dove into CONCACAF, I've learned, you look for the stars, but like that's Honduras. But it's supposed to be more of a cyan, like a light, almost tealish blue, and the government is now using that color in flags and like their official stuff. So does the federation eventually go to a lighter blue, to a cyan? It's like it almost be, I'm trying to think, it's honestly almost closer to like the Bahamas green than it is a royal blue.
I think they do, and especially since they're building that new national stadium, I think they could use that as an opportunity to kind of not necessarily rebrand, but refresh their jerseys to enter that new stadium. But I will say one final one that I did want to say they need to step their game up. It's not any one country; it's two countries. It's the two New Balance countries, Costa Rica and Panama. Because recently, as we've talked about, New Balance has kind of phoned it in with them a little bit, or at least those federations have decided to phone a little bit, and they've come out with similar jerseys, which you cannot do if you're Costa Rica and Panama. They are two rivals. When they play each other, it looks like an inter-squad scrimmage whenever those two teams play each other, because they've essentially for a couple of years had just about the exact same jerseys, both home and away. I think they've switched it up a little bit now that we move, especially Costa Rica now that they're going to the World Cup. They've added, boosted up a little bit, but they need to make sure that they can differentiate, because again, when you think of instant recognizability, you want it where Costa Ricans do not want to be confused with Panama and vice versa. So I think they need to really make sure that they can stand out and differentiate between the two.
Yeah. And for Costa Rica, they have just refreshed their look. Their new crest is actually very nice. It's a step up from that weird stick figure looking man in that crazy ass fucking interdimensional, like the time machine from fucking Austin Powers 2 looking thing, that circle. Yeah. Like they've got a very nice crest, and now they got to work on getting very nice jerseys. So yeah, we've got some countries that need to change, and we've got some beautiful fashionistas around CONCACAF. Obviously new kits coming out. US about to officially announce at time of recording their new kits. I did see that the 2023 version leaked already, the one with the star above the crest. So looking forward to that. US jersey dropping in January. And yeah, we love talking kits. We definitely want your feedback. When you listen to this, go back to the post that you found on our Twitter and definitely comment like, which one is your favorite in CONCACAF? I'll go ahead and I'll tweet out pictures of all of our top fives. So that way we can kind of rank and talk about them. But we fucking love talking about kits. And yeah, maybe we'll do this annually or something like that, talking about the looks of CONCACAF.
Oh, we have to. We could even go into the club level. There is endless potential.
It is an endless area that we can go.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Make sure you join us on our Patreon, patreon.com/Concakit. We appreciate your support. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook @Concakit. And yeah, let's keep the conversation going on social. Thanks for tuning in.